Okay, I am super excited because I'm actually going off of feedback from you guys about things that you're struggling with. And of course, the topics I suggested are also things that I tend to struggle with too. So I love getting the feedback about what you guys want to hear about. So the three things I'm going to talk about tonight: self-sabotage, um, tracking our food and meal planning, prepping, and then how to have success through a long weekend, that kind of stuff. Okay. First up, self-sabotage. I think there's a lot of people who can relate to, if you're trying to clean up your food, having some element of self-sabotage, something that is getting in the way, making you choose daily to not necessarily do the things that are going to move you closer to your goal. And if you don't struggle with that, you're probably not trying to clean up your nutrition because your nutrition is probably already on point. Um, okay, so here's the thing that I found, and through doing the nutrition courses and things, really the struggle seems to come from things that aren't necessarily, they don't have anything to do with the food, right? So it's really important to get down to the reason why. Why am I feeling like I need to self-sabotage? So why am I feeling like I need a treat or multiple treats every day? Why am I feeling like my body doesn't want to lose weight? Or why am I feeling like um, this is harder for me? Why am I getting in this mindset of, that kind of like screw it mindset where you're like, it's just summer's hard and this isn't working for me or whatever, right? You have to look and you have to take pause and ask what's going on with the bigger picture. Like, what's the bigger struggle here? What are the things that are making you feel this way, and what can you do about that? So maybe there's something else going on, like maybe you have some form of stress in your life. Maybe it's something that's kind of constant, like maybe your job is stressful, or maybe your relationships are at a stressful point. But blaming it on food and leaning into the mindset of I just can't do this when there's other things going on that are kind of fueling these decisions and this self-sabotage, it's not going to solve anything. Like, those things might come and go, or they might get better or worse, but they're not going to necessarily go away. There's always going to be some source of stress and discomfort and struggle in our lives. So if we don't get to a place where we have some way to outlet that's not just food, or that's not just sabotaging whatever our goals are. And it doesn't necessarily have to be food. Maybe it's like, I'm not going to work out because I just, you get in a mood. And I know I've been there. I know I'm like, forget it. I'm just going to have the cake because the cake's going to make me feel better, even though knowing the cake's not going to make me feel better. And I really get trapped in that mindset. Whereas if I stop, I take pause for like even 2 minutes and I say, okay, what's really going on here right now? Why do I feel like I need to eat a cake? Why do I feel like I need to, you know, grab a chocolate bar? Okay, this is what's been going on. Okay, I could see how that would stress me out. What's something else I can do right at this moment that will make me feel more calm or better or whatever? Or if you go to, an event and you're around other people that really have that screw it attitude, it's contagious, right? And that's why this group is so important. And that's why this community is so important, because a lot of the places we go and a lot of the things we do, um, there's going to be other people that don't have that same set of goals. Maybe they don't have that really powerful reason why you came to your coach or the person who brought you into this group and decided you wanted to make some changes. Maybe they don't have that. They're not at that point right now, but you are. You came to whoever brought you into this group because you weren't happy with how things were, or you wanted to do something different or something better. And surrounding yourself around as much positivity um and people that are with the same goals as you of living a healthier, stronger, more confident life is really important. And that's why, again, it's really important to lean into the community even in the summer when it's hard and we want to be a little bit more unplugged. So keep that in mind when it comes to self-sabotage. The other thing with self-sabotage, and I know self-sabotage can look different for everybody. Like, it could be like a binge, or it could be like every night I'm not doing dinner and done, even though like it's so easy and I know I can do it, I'm just choosing not to. Or, I'm drinking more wine than I should be, whatever your self-sabotage looks like. Maybe you're not getting enough sleep, whatever. But I know I've shared this before. They've done neuroscience on this, and we have a limited amount of decisions we can make every single day. And that's why, like, geniuses, like, I think that the Apple guy, oh my gosh, my brain's gone right now. See, because I can't make any information because it's 7 o'clock at night. He used to put out his clothes and wear the same kind of thing every single day because that was one less decision that he didn't have to make in the day. It's the same for us. And if you're a busy woman, working, wife, mother, whatever, all these roles, all these hats, you're making decisions for other people all day long too. So you're getting through the day and you're like, if I have to make the decision about what's for dinner and how I'm going to make it and add that to my plate, and then I'm supposed to meal plan, and then I'm supposed to meal prep, and you get into that like space where you're like, I just don't have the energy to do that. I don't have the willpower is what you're probably going to tell yourself, or I don't have that. Let's just grab a pizza. Let's just go through the drive-through. Let's just have, a box of Katie or whatever your go-to is. Which is why it's really important, like going back to that habits call that I did, it's really important for us to make whatever we're trying to accomplish or the new habits we're trying to make really easy and really obvious. If they're not really easy and obvious and they don't have some kind of reward for us, we're just not going to do them. But this is where it actually, comes into the whole planning thing. Mistakes and slip-ups they're going to happen, and days that are off are going to happen. But if you can use that 2 in a row rule, again, from that habit talk from the guy that wrote Atomic Habits, and you make this rule mentally, and you don't have to share it with anybody, you can just know it inside. You're not going to have more than, like, say, one day with missing some kind of exercise, whether it be walking or yoga or whatever, or pushing play on an on-demand workout. You're not going to make it more than one meal that doesn't fit, one meal in a row that doesn't fit with your goals. You're not going to make it more than one night in a row where you're not doing dinner and done. If you can make that mental shift, so instead of sabotaging an entire day because you had, a bad meal at lunch or whatever, you're going to have that attitude. And you know what? I can't have 2 meals in a row that aren't going to help me get closer to where I want to be. So I know for dinner, I need to make healthier choices. The day is not lost. The sabotage does not have to be there if you're implementing like that simple rule of, I'm not going to do 2 in a row. I'm not, I had one slip up or one, thing didn't line up, and that's fine, but I'm not going to make it 2 in a row. I'm going to do the best I can with the next thing I can, like 2 nights in a row, whatever. Okay. So again, though, the sabotage thing, it's so much easier not to self-sabotage when you are prepared. Think about if, your job or whatever wherever you work, or going in for a work interview or something like that. Would you go into work totally unprepared and expect the day to just be so easy and so good and so right? Probably not. You would probably have done a little bit of homework before. You probably would have some basis of information you're working from and something laid out that makes it easier for you to get through the workday and whatever you have to do, right? Like, you're not usually going to just totally wing it, especially if it was something like a new job. Well, think about, when you're making nutrition habits, it's kind of like a new thing. It's a new habit. And if you don't have a plan and you have nothing to work from and you're winging it, the likelihood of going back to your old habits is much, much higher. So again, you have to ask yourself, like, why am I choosing not to do the little things that I know work? So writing down what we're eating or tracking what we're eating, and trying to have some kind of meal plan and trying to do a little bit of meal prep every week. Why am I choosing not to do those things when I know that those things work really well? Are you telling yourself you don't have the time to do it? Are you telling yourself you're too tired or you're too busy? And if you are, then it's kind of gut check time. You have to do a time audit on yourself. And I have to do these like at least weekly, but almost daily, because I am somebody who can go down the squirrel or the rabbit hole, metaphorical rabbit hole, really easily. So I have to ask myself, okay, where am I spending my time? If I don't have time to like do a little bit of meal prep, a little bit of meal planning, and cook decent dinners, or write down what I'm eating, what am I doing with my time otherwise? Could I make like Shakeology balls while I watch a Netflix show? Of course I could. Could I chop fruits and veggies doing that? Of course I could. if I'm on the go and out and busy because I'm working or like summer's crazy, could I use the Nutrition Plus app on my phone to track my food and take pictures of my food? Absolutely. I don't have to have my notebook with me. That doesn't have to be an excuse not to track what I'm actually eating. So I have that information as to why the scale is going down or why the scale is not going down, and I can work from that. Could I meal plan while I sit and watch my kids' baseball or soccer game? I do that often. Like Sundays was when Maddox had baseball, and most of the time I'd bring my meal planning book because, as exciting as instructional baseball is, there were some downtimes that I could totally meal plan and it was okay. And I just had to figure out a way to do that. Where there's a will, there's a way, right? And what I've learned is that even when I feel like I'm the most busy, tired, overwhelmed person out there, there's always somebody who is busier, more tired, and more overwhelmed who's actually getting it done. And I have to give myself that gut check. And I encourage you to give yourself that gut check. If you are struggling with self-sabotage, and the self-sabotage part of things goes back to, you're not tracking anything and you're not meal planning or meal prepping to any element. And I mean, guys, I'm not talking super fancy stuff like you have 7 days of meals planned out. I'm talking like, are you chopping veggies and fruit every week so that that's something easy to grab when you're in a hurry or when, you're throwing a meal on? Are you writing down what dinners you're going to have? Are you looking in your freezer and seeing what meats you have? Are you looking through your crisper drawers instead of letting everything rot and being like, okay, how can I use that in a meal? Let's put this into my meal plan so that I'm not wasting fresh food and I'm getting the stuff I need. That's my advice with that. And I say this because I've learned this the hard way, because I did this many a times. And if I have a week where I don't put that little tiny bit of effort in, which honestly combined probably takes me maybe an hour a week, then everything kind of falls apart. I don't do well on the fly. I've learned that about myself. Most people do not do well on the fly unless it's something they've been doing for a really, really long time. And most of us have not built that level of habit that we can do that. Okay, last up, travel and long weekend tips. Like it's pretty much going to be a long weekend this weekend, which totally snuck up on me. I'm going to go through some tips and ideas that you guys have probably heard before, but it doesn't matter how many times I hear them, I'm like, oh yeah, that's good. First of all, have a plan and stick to it. If you're going to restaurants, you can look at the menu ahead of time. You can figure out what you're going to eat, and then you can stick to it. You can make that decision, hey, this is what I'm going to have. If you're going to a barbecue or you're going to a party, be the person who brings the veggies. Bring, made up salads, or even if bagged salads and put them in a bowl, whatever. Chopped up veggies, veggie trays. Like, it doesn't have to be anything difficult, but if you're bringing the veggies, the veggies are going to be there, right? And if you're traveling, so like if you're going in the car long places, bring your veggies with you. That is the hardest thing to find. We do a lot of road trips and we do the big drive to Florida. There's not many places that have vegetables, and there's a lot of meals that you can really kind of add your veggies to, and then everything moves smoother digestion wise. You feel more satisfied, and you're less likely to overeat garbage and not feel like you're overstuffed and things like that. Okay, make water your number one beverage choice. Have your minimum, sorry, that's Alex's alarm for his medicine. Have your minimum that you want to have. Based off your weight, it's half of your weight. We all know that, in ounces. But in the summer, it should be a little bit more. So, add a little bit more to that before you have anything else to drink. So before you have that beer or that glass of wine or even that sparkling water or whatever, make sure you have your minimum of water in. If you have that in, it's going to make a big difference. For one thing, you're not going to be like all tipsy if you're having alcohol, but also it's going to just make sure that, again, everything's moving more smoothly. You're not dehydrated, so you're not feeling like you're hungry when you're actually not hungry. And your skin's nice and you feel good and you don't get headaches and all those things. So water is so, so important, especially on, long weekends and out at things like that. Okay, every time if you are at a barbecue or you're at somebody else's house or they're serving dinner or whatever, fill every plate you have, no matter what meal it is, with half veggies. It's so easy to do and think about it that way. You're not going to have your containers with you probably if you're doing portion fix, and you don't want to be the weird person that maybe brings your containers. If you do it, by all means, go for it. I did it at first. But there's nothing wrong with just like looking at visually like 2B mindset and saying half of my plate needs to be filled with veggies. So whether that's salad or veggie sides or whatever, and then I can fill the rest with whatever. I can fill it with a protein and some healthy fats and some accessories and maybe a dessert or whatever. But as long as you're getting those veggies in and being very intentional about that, it makes a big, big difference. When it comes to treats, make sure you're using that 8 out of 10 rule instead of, just grabbing whatever's there and thinking, how you always wish that there was like a calorie refund for the things that don't taste as good as they look. That doesn't exist, unfortunately. So like if you take a nibble of something and it's gross, don't eat it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. If you're having dessert and it's not something you love, pass on it. It's okay. It's okay to say, nah, you know what? I'm good. I'm actually full. Nothing's going to happen. No one's going to freak out. Glass isn't going to break. Pigs aren't going to fly. It'll be okay. If you're at an activity or at, whatever you're at, again, like I'm giving the example of a barbecue, be active. So be in the pool, be, throwing horseshoes, be playing volleyball, go for a walk after dinner, whatever, however you can get moving and have your body moving. And the more you're moving, the less you're around the tables and where the food is, milling around, just eating things that you don't really even want to eat. They're just there, so you do it, right? That's how you avoid that. It's by being active, being away from the food, and making it about the event, making it about the people, making it about the conversations, and not just making it about stuffing your face and then leaving feeling like with so much regret and bloated and yucky and like, ugh, the scale's going to be awful the next day. Instead being like, you know what, I actually left feeling really good. Like I didn't overeat and I'm feeling like I'm going to get a good night's sleep. I'm not going to have indigestion. I don't need all the Gaviscon and Tums. It's actually a good thing. You're doing a good thing for yourself. It's not a punishment. And again, with that, get out of that mindset that those foods that you're going to see at these events, you're never going to see them again. You're going to see them again. It's okay. Like it's not the only time you're ever going to see pie or ice cream or whatever. Like you can have your treat and you can enjoy your treat and savor it. But you don't need to have all the treats because they're all there. And again, it's just, get into that mindset of I'm not just here for the food. The food is a part of it, but I'm here for, the event, the feelings, the conversations, the people. If you go into it like that, you'll come out, like I said, feeling so much better and hold on to that feeling of not feeling bloated, icky, and like all full of regret. You'll just be like, hey, I'm actually really proud of myself for, not overdoing it. I feel really good. And that is so much better to leave events feeling like that. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. If you guys watched live, thanks. There's a lot of you guys that hopped on. Tag your buddies so this doesn't get lost in the feed. It's crazy. I could barely even find my own stuff anymore. But I'm grateful for you guys jumping on, and I hope everybody has a great night. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. And our photo challenge starts on Thursday, so the 1st. So stay tuned. They'll post early in the morning. You'll know what the themes and the topics are. And I really, really love the photo challenge. I think it's just something fun to keep us engaged. Okay. Have a great day, guys. Have a great night and take care.